So I just wanted to jump on here really quick because I was thinking about something based on something I heard someone else say. And it's interesting because it's a great example of how mindset, your mentality, your perspective can get in your way. So, sure, we have this idea that a degree means that you're qualified. And to some people, that means giving up your value, putting your value in something else. But here's the thing. Sure, if you're doing that, that's not a good thing. But that doesn't mean that there isn't any value in it. There's a reason why people valued things like college, because colleges actually at one point were teaching people valuable skills. So you've got to be very careful not to let people with their ideologies guide you in any particular direction. Because opinions, everybody's got them. I'm not even going to say the rest of that one. We all heard it. In the grand scheme of things, there is nothing wrong with educating yourself so that you're better at what you do. That's why I got my degree in psychology. That's why I wanted to get a degree in psychology. I also am not going to continue getting more of my degrees in psychology because I have what I need and I have other ways of getting what I need at this point to do my job well. But I wouldn't have been able to do my job as well as I do now had I not gotten my degree in psychology. So we have to be careful not to let other people's ideologies guide us out of doing what's best for ourselves. Because there is value in educating yourself. That paper, that piece of paper, that diploma, all that says is that you educated yourself for this long, in this way. And some hold more value than others. That's why some colleges are more esteemed than others, or have reputations for certain things than others. Nevertheless, you can also have people who never ended up getting that piece of paper, who became just as educated as someone else. So, on that side of things, sure, I agree. We shouldn't be letting pieces of paper, especially the way colleges are today, guide our idea of value. That's not to say that we shouldn't still be educating ourselves and allowing ourselves that's not the right way to put it. I've noticed that there are people who aren't qualified trying to convince themselves they are qualified because they don't have something, they don't need it because other people didn't need it. And we can't get into that either. Because there are going to be people who are more qualified than others. And figuring that out sometimes can be more difficult. But we have to be so careful. We just have to be so careful when it comes to listening to other people who are very convincing, selling their ideologies, that we don't fall into their ideology because they sold it convincingly, just because they sold it convincingly. Analyzing things like this, breaking them down, thinking about them, and sometimes for a little while is very important, because everything has two sides to it. And you're always going to have the polarities of something and then that balance down the middle. And that's usually where you want to be, is not on one side or the other, but the balance down the middle. So like I did with my psychology degree, I got my associate's degree. I was going to go to another college after that and get my next degree in psychology, but I ended up finding my life coaching certification from another college and ended up getting some other continued education along the way that I decided that when it came to a degree in psychology specifically, my associate's degree was enough because I had my life coaching certification from an actual college that certified me in the counseling portion of what I wanted to do. So, from there, at this point, me getting to work with clients one-on-one is the best teacher I've got, really. I mean, I will always be taking on more continued education. I love Jordan Peterson. I'm reading Maps of Meaning. I start getting into it. Dude, Maps of Meaning, that is a highly intellectual book. I don't recommend Maps of Meaning to just anybody. If you want to read a Jordan Peterson book, read one of his 12 Rules for Life books. He's got 2 of them now. Start with those. Maps of Meaning, that's a word-heavy book. Just saying. And I have a pretty big vocabulary. And even I sit there with a sentence from time to time and I'm like piecing together the words he's using to create the context of what he's actually trying to... It's a heavy book when it comes to the vocabulary. Anyway, to wrap this all up, these days, things are changing. Things are changing all the time. And which way we are swayed in any particular direction is only and all up to us. And what we decide to do is all up to us. So the best thing you can do for yourself when you ever hear anything, like I was just hearing this guy talk about why I dropped out of college, because you're giving your value away to this piece of paper. It's like, well, no, actually, I went to college because I wanted to educate myself on how to best do the job I want to do to fulfill my purpose in life. Ask questions. Ask questions of everything. Everything. When you hear something, even if you don't have questions right away, let it sit for a minute. But start asking questions. If you don't have a question that you can think to ask of a particular thing that you hear, simply ask yourself, what's the opposition to this? And it's a great place to start. Because when you can figure out, okay, if this is one side of the polarity, what's the other side of the polarity? And then you can walk yourself back to the middle. This was totally impromptu. I didn't have this planned. I literally just heard this guy talking and grabbed out my camera, turned it on, and started talking. So that's how I'm going to wrap this up. People can be really convincing. And it's funny because there's that Dunning-Kruger effect chart and that shows you that the less somebody knows, the more confident they are. The more you know, you slowly start to become less confident, and then you start to become more confident. And in my experience, that's very accurate. The people who are like the most confident are the people who know the least. And what you're going to find is the people who know the most are going to be less confident than the people who know the least. So just keep that in mind. Anyway, may the energy you serve you well. Let's keep making our way through. Wherever I end up posting this, subscribe, follow, whatever. Check out any links there might be in the description. I gotta go do stuff now, but I just wanted to get that out of my system when I was most inspired to do so. Love you guys. Thank you for watching. And I'll see you wherever I'm seeing you.